Zacchaeus stood up and he said he's going to give away half of that he owns, and if he wronged anybody, he's going to repay them 4 times. And Jesus said this. Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost." God's goal is to save the lost people, the people that don't know him. Did you miss it in the beginning of this? The scripture, did you miss it? Maybe you don't know the historical significance, because I missed it for years until I sat down and looked at this. And this is where we got the positioned word. So Zacchaeus has been put in this place for the time where Jesus could meet him. And although his life is horrible because he's been a terrible person and brought it all on himself, he's in a difficult position, but he's waiting to hear that unlocking sound. He's waiting for God to unlock something that he's not ready for. And he's seeking Jesus. Do you know what city he was in? Can you remember what we said at the beginning of this? Anybody?
Jericho.
He was in Jericho. Do you know what Jericho is?
It's where they marched around and the walls fell down and all that fancy.
Exactly. It's where there's a story, and we'll read it.
Judges, right?
I think it might. I'm not going to say because I don't know, but I know the story because I've read it a few times. I'm not good with the books and chapters and stuff. We'll find it, and we'll preach on it again sometime. But what happened at Jericho is that the Israelites were coming to conquer all the people that were bad for the area, and they were trying to inherit the kingdom that God had for them. And there was a city called Jericho, and it had these massive walls around it. And you would think that in an army you siege the walls and you climb the walls and you take over the city. What they did, what God told them to do, was to send the worshipers, the musicians and everything, ahead of the army, and they just marched around the city. And marched. And I don't know the exact number. It may have been seven times, right? Because I think that's a number of perfection, right? That's what that number represents in the Bible. It represents perfection, completeness. So they marched around 7 times, and they just kept marching. And you can be marching in life and you're like, here we go again. Around again. We're just doing the same thing over again, God. But on the 7th time, they were ordered to shout as loud as they could, to let it out. And on that 7th time when they let it out, the walls, I've heard a teaching where they were actually pushed down into the ground. They didn't fall over. You remember 9/11 when the tower came down. These walls were pushed down by the presence of God, and they were able to go freely into the city. Now, Zacchaeus was positioned in the middle of Jericho. Why was he in the middle? Because Jesus was passing through. And he didn't even realize, he knew that he had disadvantages because of his height, but he didn't even know the historical disadvantage that he potentially could have had. Jesus brought down those walls of Jericho so that he could walk right through the city and walk right up to Zacchaeus and say, Zacchaeus, I got to come to stay at your house tonight. And what God told me to tell you is that where you're at in your life right now, that he has broken down, he has pushed down spiritual walls that could have kept you from knowing him. But he's coming to your house today, and he's living in your living room today, and he's coming into your life, and he wants to know who you are. And he put all of those battles and pushed down those walls and prepared a city for you to be placed right in the middle of all the craziness, because he loves you. He loves who you are right now. So be encouraged, because God is getting ready to come into your house and restore